right. Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's not really morning. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Money Matters. It is Sunday, 3 o'clock, and we are back at another episode. Doesn't matter which part of the world you're watching from. Do let me know in the comments where you're watching from, where you're tuning in from. And of course, as you guys would have seen in the captions and the earlier posting regarding today's session, today's going to be much relaxed. We're just going to talk about some of the questions and answers, common questions that people have been asking me about their finances over the past few months, as well as some of my experiences with regards to money management. I realized that I've interviewed quite a fair bit of people and shared about the experiences that they have, but I haven't really had much time to share about the experiences that I have been having. So I thought I shall take today's opportunity to break it down for you guys and share with you on what are some of the lessons that I have been learning with regards to finance over the past few months. So if you are tuning in, please do let me know where you're watching in from, what are you looking forward to talk about in today's session. And of course, if you have any questions with regards to finance or money matters, you can drop it in the comments and I'll definitely take your questions. Before we dive into our topic today and the questions and answers and the experiences and all of those kind of stuff, just wanted to share with you guys about my book Money Matters as well. So it is the guide to finance and life for Gen Zs. It was released back last year, and one of the most exciting things ever that I've done. It was super duper exciting to write this book because one, I got to reflect back on all of my different crazy experiences with regards to money, with regards to how what are the things I've learned about transitioning into adulthood, and so many other things. And I actually put down my experiences in this book. The second chapter, which is one of my favorites, which is called Transitioning to Adulthood, talks about things like traveling for the first time or moving out and all the small steps that I have taken so far to make progress in my finances. And I actually wrote about that in chapter 2. Recently, one of the readers actually posted about reading chapter 5, which is The Sailor Needs the Stars, which is also one of my favorite chapters because I wrote about some of the lessons that I've learned from my parents as well as my mentor, and what were those lessons, how did it shape me. I actually broke it down one by one so that it would be like a golden nugget of wisdom for you guys to take away. So that's what I shared about in the book. I've written about how I formed Ascendance, how I built my career up, some of the stories of my clients who encountered problems with regards to their finances, how they sorted it, as well as my own journey with regards to managing my finances and all of that. So I've written this in the book. If you are Malaysian, as in you are residing in Malaysia and living in Malaysia, you can purchase the physical copy, or you can also purchase the ebook and audiobook package, which is also available. And I've dropped the link in the chat box for you guys to check it out. If you're unable to click the link in the chat box, just know that you have to visit ascendancepro.com, ASCENDANCE.com, pro.com/store, STORE. So in there, not only is my book available, but you'll also be able to check out a few other things. For example, my fellow co-founder of Ascendance, Harsha, actually wrote a book called The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur, which has been, I think they have sold almost like 5,000 or more than that, 5,000 copies so far. And it is amazing. It's a really nice book, especially if you're a youngster. You should definitely check that book out. But there's also a lot of other merchandisers and an online platform and so on and so forth, so that you guys can check those things out. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy reading my book. Other than that, of course, I run this talk show, Money Matters, where we feature myself as well as a lot of other speakers from various backgrounds on the topic of money. I think money is something that will influence all areas of your life, so you can never run out of things to talk about. And it has been a hell of a journey. I think this is episode 50 something, where we have featured so many guest speakers where they share their experiences and all of that. And of course, one of the best honors I could have gotten is recently this talk show was voted as the best influencer runner-up in the Money Awareness and Inclusion Awards 2022 that was hosted recently. So it was a huge honor. And of course, it was exciting to see that many of the viewers who have been watching Money Matters actually supported a lot and encouraged our journey so far, and it keeps me going. So thank you so much for all of you who took part in that and actually voted for Money Matters. So yeah, today's topic, I think there were many things that has been going on, many different scenarios. But of course, the first thing that I thought of sharing about is none other than holidays, because as things open up, yes, there's newer strains and variants coming up with regards to COVID-19. But it has also been a very, very exciting period because all of us have begun to travel, especially here in Malaysia. The borders opened up sometime in May. And since then, a lot more people have started traveling overseas or even just within Malaysia a bit more confidently. They have started visiting the places that they wanted to visit. And if you were like me, I think many of us did this thing during the pandemic. Like, when the pandemic ends, I will not make the mistake of not traveling. I'm going to take the effort and make sure I travel and explore the world, because we hated being stranded at home. So I was one of those people who also was very passionate about making sure that I travel after the pandemic is slowly withdrawing itself and coming to a taper in a way. So of course, the first place that I visited or wanted to find out more about was actually, sorry, yes, so one of the recent places that I actually went to is Langkawi. I'm not sure how many of you here are viewers from Malaysia, but you would be aware of this island called Langkawi Island. So recently, a few friends and mine of mine, we actually went to Langkawi, and we just did the most touristy thing possible. We went up the cable car, we went to the beach, we had nice food, and we had a lot of fun. So going on this trip was something that we have been looking forward to. We have been wanting to go out on many different holiday trips. So it was interesting to plan it out. But the most interesting aspect of it all was not just managing my own finances and ensuring I'm able to go on the holiday, but also making sure that the friends and all of that, how did they manage their finances and what were the struggles that they faced. So it was a very, very interesting and exciting experience for me, to see how we manage our finances. So if you guys watch Money Matters, you'll be aware of this term called sinking funds, which I continuously use all the time without fail. Yes, this is us at Langkawi, visiting the place. It was super duper fun, and we had a lot of fun even doing reels at Langkawi. But one of the things that I do to ensure I can go on the trips and holidays that I want to go on is actually building this thing called sinking funds. So what happens in the sinking fund is a lot of people actually save money up. We have been taught since young to save money, and we do that. Many of us do save money, and we build up our funds. But we have also not been taught on how or when would be the right time to touch the savings. So some of us would have grown up in a background where people would save up the money, but some emergency will always come up, and they would have to go and touch their savings and use it, to kind of like solve that problem. Or people would take the effort to build it up, and then they would decide to treat themselves to something, and then they'll use the money and treat themselves, and immediately after that there'll be some crises, and then they won't have the money to pay for it. They then start taking debts, to kind of like cover those expenses. These are some of the scenarios. Some of you may be coming from families where going on trips and all of that was never a concern because the family had enough money all the time to ensure you go on these trips. Or some of you may not be aware how your family was paying for these trips. You just were a kid just like me, who just went on the trip and never really questioned how it was made possible. So I was the kind of kid who actually never really cared to find out how things were done. But when I wanted to start traveling and when I wanted to go on trips, I think that's when the question came out, like, okay, how do I make this happen? I save up the money, I work hard for months, and after this trip, the money is gone. And now I'm back at the stressful situation of not having my backup funds in case any emergency comes up. So after experiencing the stress of saving up money, using it for some travel or something like that, and then not having money, and then some emergency coming up, and then panicking about it, I was too stressed about it. So I was like, what is the solution to ensure that I don't end up in this very, very stressful situation? Which is where you build up this thing called emergency funds and sinking funds. That's exactly what I did. I just built two different funds called emergency funds and sinking funds. And what happens in an emergency fund is very, very simple. I put aside a certain amount of money every month into a faraway account that I cannot see, cannot touch, I don't bother touching, don't bother seeing, and I just let it build up every month. That's number one. Meanwhile, sinking fund is something I always look into. I always check out the account. I always plan out what I'm going to do with the money because I also set aside a certain amount of money every month into my sinking fund so that I can do things like going for holidays. Recently, I went for my dental checkup. After 2 years of missing my dental checkup due to the pandemic, I went into the dental office and they took a look at my mouth. I used to have problems with my wisdom tooth and all of that. So they checked that and it's like, oh, okay, your wisdom tooth seems fine. Nothing seems to be a problem. That's good. And then did some scaling. And then they were like, oh, but there's some cavities here and there. You need to do this filling, do that filling. And after I was done, they were like, okay, so this is the bill. And I got the shock of my life looking at the bill. I'm like, oh my God, why is the bill so high? But the work was done already. I couldn't really do much, and I didn't really ask much questions too. So I paid the bill. I came back. But was I stressed that now I've paid the bill? I was a bit disappointed that I didn't find out information about paying the bill. But I was not that stressed. But next day I kind of moved on because I had the funds to take care of this. I had built up a certain amount of money that I can spend on these kind of things and not think twice about it. So I paid for it. I felt bad the fact that I didn't find out what I was paying for beforehand, and I just didn't spend the money. But after I have spent the money, even 2 days down the road, I didn't really feel guilty or didn't feel the stress of I need to figure out how to earn this money back because that fund was meant to spend on these kind of things. So I paid for it. I moved on. Now I'm back to normal. My emergency funds are still there. So if anything comes up net tomorrow, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to be taken care of. So I did not have that stress. So again, it was one of those other moments that reinforced the whole have the two savings so that you don't feel the pinch when things go wrong. All right. So that was one of the things that I say. I've been learning about in terms of finances. I'm curious to know what other things that you guys have been learning about or you have some questions about. I will next talk about some of the few questions that a few people brought up with me over the past 1 week. We'll talk a little bit about that. But before that, let's check out this very quick ad on Money Matters book. All right, so that was that, and then let's go into the next thing. I think recently one of my exciting aspects of my week has been, or more like aspect of my month has been, dealing with the finances of my clients. So I have all kinds of clients. I have youngsters who are studying at school, or like they're young people whose expenses are basically taken care of by their parents, and the kind of scenarios they face. I work with a lot of young adults who have all kinds of problems in life. I have people who have loans. They have student loans, they have car loans to pay off, and they are working towards paying those off. I have youngsters who have 1,000 ringgit in their emergency funds and they are stressed about their finances and how to make that problem go away. I have young people who have credit card issues in the sense that every month, without fail, something keeps coming up and they have to pay their credit card. And even if they practice self-restraint, like, okay, I'm going to stick to my budget and all that, some emergency comes up and they would have to touch their money and use it to pay for their expenses, and it gets them very stressed out. I've had clients like that. I've had clients who make plenty of money and they live comfortably, and the only problem is choosing to spend money or choosing to give the money away to somebody because they are so used to saving up and hoarding their money that it's very uncomfortable for them to decide to treat themselves to a holiday. I have people who are friends who one friend does better than the other, so and the other friend is not so well to do. So when they hang out together, they have this constant struggle of where are we going to go? Are we going to go to a place that I can afford, or are we going to go to a place that both of us can afford? Do I pay for you? If I pay for you, is that going to be a bad thing? All kinds of problems that young people face with regards to finances, and I get to experience all of these through my clients on a day-to-day basis. So some of the most interesting stuff that has taken place recently is one of my clients, in a very very sad scenario, is lost her parents quite young, and recently she has kind of gotten older, and now she was able to take out the money from places like Employment Provident Fund, which is EPF or KWSP for some of you who live here in Malaysia. She was able to take out some funds from other places as well. The insurance was able to pay off a loan. So basically, the things that happens when a guardian or a parent passed away and they had money saved up, what happens when it comes to you. So it was a very, very interesting scenario to see, as somebody who gets that big lump sum of money, what happens to you. Now, I would not like to go into details about how she chose to allocate the funds, what she did with it, and all of that. But what I thought was interesting was the importance of understanding what are your goals, understanding how you manage your money. Now, this particular person has not previously done any financial management or any coaching or anything of that sort with me. In fact, this past few weeks has been my first few weeks meeting with this client. But what was very interesting is that because she had gotten this lump sum of money and she has never experienced this before, and she has never had any conversation about managing money before, or what would be her priorities and all of that, when the money came in, it caused so much of stress. I've never seen anybody more stressed in my life. She was so worried, like, what is going to happen? What should I do with the money? Everybody's asking me what am I going to do with the money, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with the money. What is the right thing to do with the money? Should I invest in this? Should I invest in that? Should I even invest? Should I save it? Should I put in FD? Should I put in money market? Should I give it away to somebody? Should I keep it? Should I give to my family? What should I do? And there's just a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, a lot of stress. So that is when I realized how important it is for us to start as young as possible to start managing our finances. It doesn't matter whether you have 100,000 ringgit or 100 ringgit. The moment you start receiving some amount of money, it could be a 10 ringgit that your parents give you when you go to school, it could be a 1 ringgit that your parents give you when you go to school, or it could be 1,000 ringgit which you get when you get to your first job, or 10,000 ringgit which you get when you have managed to work for many years. It doesn't matter. But whatever amount money comes in, being able to look at the money and be very clear on what are your objectives and how this money can help you reach your objectives and how you will allocate the money is very, very important. For example, if I am to receive some additional money today, I have a certain plan that I kind of stick to. I have like this percentage of money always goes to emergency funds. This percentage goes to investing. This percentage goes to saving. Sinking funds. This percentage goes to giving away to people. And I stick to my percentages. I always stick to my plan. No matter when I get the money, this is the plan. Unless something new comes up or something has changed, then I change up my percentages. But then after that, I stick to the plan. So it is absolutely important for you to do this, and you don't need to wait till you are, I don't know, 40s to be able to do this. You can do this when you're 14 and actually learn how to manage your finances. So if you're a young person who hasn't, if I ask you the question right now, if I gave you 100,000 ringgit and you aren't able to very clearly tell where you would keep what funds and what would you do with it, then there is a place to improve. There is something you need to think about and discuss and come up with an idea so that you manage your finances with a lot of clarity. So if that is something you are interested in working on, if that is something that you feel, yeah, Madhura, what you're saying is right. What if something comes along and I'm not able to sort this problem out? I want to learn how to do this. If you are someone who's experiencing or thinking about that right now, then please do let me know. Meet up with me. You can actually contact me on my social media, and we can have a chat about this. I sometimes meet my clients online. I also meet my clients on physically if you're someone who's based in KL, and we can actually have a conversation about this to see how you can get started on your financial management journey as well. So that was one of the clients. The other important aspect of the conversations I had with this particular client was giving away some of the things that you can. So when we are young or when we are earning very little, most of us have to tend to have this mindset that I will save when I have the money. Or you may be somebody who's saving already, then you go to the next stage of I will give to somebody when I have the money. When I earn a lot more, I will look into helping people. Which based on my experience so far, never really happens. Very rarely have I seen people who said they will give away or they will start saving actually come back and stick to their plan and make it happen. It's because most of us just use it as like a postpone or procrastination kind of thing at the beginning. We never really had any clear plans to make it happen. So one of the things that my mentor or Joyce, who's the founder and CEO of Simply Empowering, taught me when I first few years when I was in Simply Empowering. One of the things he mentioned to me was, doesn't matter how much you're earning, if you can only save 5 ringgit per month, you save that money. You take that 5 ringgit and you put it somewhere specific for you to save it. Take that action, make that happen. Even if it's a small amount, make it happen. Which I used to think was ridiculous. Like, what's the point of saving 5 ringgit? It's not going to do anything. Let me get to a point where I can save 50 ringgit and then I'll save, which never happened. And for years, even if I got to a capacity of saving 100 ringgit, I just never did it. So starting small is very important, including giving to people when you are not earning much either. So let's say you can only give to people 5 ringgit per month. You actually find ways and means to give away 5 ringgit per month. So I have many clients of mine who actually support the social enterprise and the youth movement that I started, Ascendance. They sponsor, I mean, they kind of support the cause by becoming a patron in this platform called patreon.com. And the lowest amount you can do there is 1 USD. 1 USD for Malaysians here is probably now is about 4 ringgit 50 cents, and with the charges and all may go to 460, which is actually doable for even a college kid or even a high school kid for that matter. It is actually a doable amount. But some of these people actually took that effort to put in that amount. And now they have building a habit pattern of, no matter what I'm earning, I'm going to consistently have certain percentage of what I'm earning, give back to people, actually help people with it. And this is a wonderful habit pattern to build. Of course, this is also where you may need somebody to guide you on your finances, because you will tend to forget. There are people I've seen who are 40 years old, 50 years old, and are earning so much more, but they still give the 5 ringgit only, as if they are still back stuck in their 20s or stuck in their teens. So understanding this, changing your priorities as you grow up, as you get to a different point in your life, it is extremely important. And which is why having a person to coach you and help you manage your finances is extremely important as well. All right, so if you have taken away anything so far, let me know in the comments, and I'm very very curious to know um, what you guys think about money. What are the lessons you have been learning? And of course, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat box and we'll go for a very very very, very quick commercial break. All right, so you can actually join us on our Telegram group if you'd like to continue get updates on our upcoming episodes and all of that. We actually have a few interesting episodes coming up. We have somebody who I've worked with for so many years in many different projects. I've actually like trying to get him to come and share about his experiences of managing his finances. Also, through the Maya Awards, I've had the privilege and opportunity to meet many amazing organizations across the world who are involved in financial management and all of that. So we are also getting some of the speakers from that arena to come and share their experiences with regards to financial management and all that. So if you guys are keen to find out more about our upcoming episodes, you can actually join our Telegram group. The link is dropped in the chat box, so you can actually check that out. And of course, join our activities, join the sessions that we have, and learn from them as well. So before we end today's session, I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about is consistency. This is something that actually many of us struggle. One of the things that has been happening for me personally is it has been the most exciting month I've had probably in my life. It's because Ascendance recently was awarded a grant from the Avery Dennison Foundation. Avery Dennison is a Fortune 500 company based in the US, where they work on packaging and labeling. And they actually sponsored 3,600 students here in Malaysia to take part in Ascendance's online platform and activities, and also receive a copy of the Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur book. So these 3,600 students are spread across Malaysia, and my team and I have been traveling across Malaysia to meet these students, to give them the book set, as well as brief them and explain to them on how they can make use of this platform and grow together with Ascendance. So it has been one of the most amazing month, in the sense of we have been traveling extensively to meet schools and students from all across the world, all across Malaysia, people from all kinds of backgrounds. I've met students who come from the city. I've met students who have never stepped on an escalator before. I've met all kinds of students from all kinds of backgrounds, and it has definitely been one exciting month or two, I would say. And one of the struggles that comes with life in general, when you guys tend to get busy, like some of you may be students and you will have your final exams coming up, so everything drops and you have to focus on your assignments, you have to focus on your exams, and you have to get it done. Or you may be a working adult, or you could be a parent, which is worse. Every single day is crisis. You have your child, there's something to take care of, or your job may be having a big deadline coming up or a big project coming up, and you have nothing. You cannot let those go. You have to work on it. You have to get it done. So things tend to take precedence in our life in a way. And finance is also one of those areas that many people will kind of like be happily willing to let it go, to not look at it. So even for me, because I've been doing this travel and all of that, I've had not had that much of time to take a little bit of time to sit down and key in my expenses and income and see whether staying within my budget, see whether it's everything's progressing well. Am I earning as much as I should be? Should I be looking into something? Is there any new expenses coming up? Is my sinking fund going too low? The review that I do regularly, I haven't been able to do it as frequently as I was able to do last time. So this is where it is extremely important to find people or a group of people who support you in this journey. One is, of course, if you have a person who coaches you on your financial management, you can set a meeting with them and make sure you get it done. But if you don't have that, then find your tribe, find a group of people who are also committed towards making sure that their finances run well. So for me, is my friends. Every one of them tracks their expenses, and sometimes when we realize that hey, something's wrong, none of us have been looking at our finances, we actually sit together and key in our expenses together. Even me, somebody who enjoys keying in and managing my finances, even I tend to get distracted. Even I tend to get lazy about it. So having a group of people actually helps you to commit to that and to ensure that you get it done. And of course, when you make mistakes, when it's a group of people, it's easier to find that support. It's easier to for them to give you an encouragement, like, hey, it's okay, we all made the same mistake. Let's make sure we correct it and move forward. Or sometimes you may be just unnecessarily worrying, and they would be able to give you an encouragement, like, hey, it's all right, it's not as bad as you think. These are the things actions we need to take. Let's take those actions and move on. So reviewing and managing and keeping an eye on our finances cannot be let go just because you're currently having a busy period of time, because this 1 month will become two, which is what happens to my health all the time, honestly. 1 month will become two, and next thing you know, it's 1.5 years and nothing much has been done. So if you want to avoid those scenarios, what is absolutely important is that you go back to the people who are guiding you, go back to your friends, and actually schedule some time. So if you have not personally, if you are who are watching, I think there's a few of you who are tuning in right now, if you have not looked at your finances recently, make some time to do so. It could be today on a Sunday afternoon. You want to just take a look at your different bank accounts and make sure you're on track. It could be today, it could be Monday morning, right before you get started on a wonderful week. You take a look at your finances, it's fine, but schedule some time to make it happen. In fact, sometimes some things have to be done yearly. For example, meeting up with your insurance agent to ensure you're reviewing and everything's being covered, and you have sufficient coverage and all of that. You have to make that happen. Set an appointment with your agent. Maybe you haven't looked into your investments in ages. You had an insurance a guy who sold you unit trust, but you have no idea how to find out or anything about unit trust or the things investments that you have done. Set an appointment. So don't delay it any longer. Fix some timings to meet these people who will be able to show you what is going on, who will be able to guide you on what is going on, and take action on it so that you do not waste the opportunity or the things that you have the things that you have been procrastinating on. I like this comment. How did you know I was procrastinating on that? Aren't we all? So that, I think I would like to end it with that. I'm personally taking a bit more effort to stop procrastinating and actually start taking action on these things. In fact, yesterday only I met my insurance agent and had a conversation about it, understanding my policy and all of that. So if you guys have been procrastinating on that, go and take action and have fun with it. And feel free to share your experiences and lessons in our Telegram group. I think earlier we had dropped the link in the chat. Join the Money Matters Telegram group, because this is a group of people who are interested to learn how to manage their finances better and all of that. And I'm curious to know what is going on in your lives, what are the lessons you guys are learning. So drop it in the chat. And if you are in search of somebody to guide you and support you in this journey of financial management, you may be a young adult who is in your late teens or early 20s, and you want to ensure that you start off in the right way, have the right habit patterns that you need to have, and you're not sure where to get started, or you may be deep down in a huge trouble of credit card debts and all kinds of debts, and you want to come out of it. If this is you, then one of the people you can contact is, of course, me. You can actually have a conversation. Sometimes I may not be the best person to support you in the journey, but I'll be able to refer you to people who are able to do so. But let's have that conversation. Do not procrastinate on working on your finances. So you can actually contact me on my social media. Instagram is at The Real Madura, and Facebook is also The Real Madura. Contact me if this is something you're looking for, and I'll be more than happy to work with you guys on it. All right, so that's it for today's episode. It was supposed to be a very quick one, just me sharing my experiences over the past 2 months on some of the things I've been learning, some of the things my clients have been experiencing, and I hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you guys got to learn something from these experiences, and we hope to see you guys at the next Money Matters episode, which will be happening 2 weeks from now. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys at the next session.